I would probably look him in his eyes and tell him something like, "Dude, you're such a badass motherfucker."
So today I have a guest. This is Ike. We met in Dubai hauling sandbags, and I'm so happy to see you here today because you were one of the most genuine person that I saw there, and your kindness and your genuinity towards everybody was just so heartwarming. And you own Ike Sandwiches, feeding lots of people throughout the US, countless locations. And I'm happy to have you here talking with you about how our mind can influence our reality and how we can change our mind in order to reach where we want to go in life. So, my first question to you is tell us a little bit about yourself, about your story, how you came to feeding people with sandwiches.
Well, I love to eat. I realized a couple decades ago that there I was, and I was not happy with the aspects of few aspects of my job. But I noticed that there were a lot of things that I would not only just do at the work, but I would do without them telling me to do it. I would be really great at it. And I was asking myself the question, why would I do that? And then I noticed that, oh, it's because I enjoyed doing those things, but it was beyond just enjoying doing them. It was I was inspired by doing those things. It lit me up to do those things. And I had just asked myself question, what are those things that light me up? What are those things that I'm already doing that people don't have to tell me to do, that I'll do even for out if without a financial reward? And I made that list. And on that list, it was 37 things. And looking through the list, I was like, oh, I should probably open up a restaurant. And so I set on the path about 2 decades ago to open up a restaurant. And here we are, 18 years later.
It's an amazing story. So you're saying you were basically on the quest to find your higher self, to find your purpose, what you were here to experience, to bring to the world, right?
Well, so my belief is that everybody already knows what it is that is, quote, their higher self, what it is that inspires them, what it is that people like to throw around the word passion. I believe everybody already knows that. And you know how I know that we know it is because we're already doing it. It's not, hey, what inspires me? We already do it. Even if you only do it 1 minute a day, you still do it. It's the things that nobody else has to ever remind you to do. Nobody has to tell me, hey, I can make sure you eat a meal today or two. Nobody has to remind me to do that. Nobody has to remind me to work out. Nobody has to remind me to read. There's so many things that nobody has to remind me to do. Everybody here also has those same things. We're just not conditioned to look at, oh, I already know what it is that I want to do because I'm already doing them. Now, how can I turn those things into a way to generate income, a way to turn it into a career, or just a way to continuously become inspired? So I saw that in my 20s, that in the jobs that I had, those things stuck out, and I excelled in those areas, and it just figured easily to just segue into doing it for work. Now it's easier said than done. Sure, you need money. You still got to eat to live, got to steal to eat, right? Tell you about it when I have the time. And you're already doing it anyway. It's not like I thought, hey, I'm gonna do something that I wasn't already doing. I was already cooking. I was already going. If we were at your house, even today, I'd look through your refrigerator, I'd look through your cabinets, I'd look through your pantry, and create an amazing meal. Hopefully, it would be amazing. I would already do that. So I just thought, well, why don't I just do that for $1? Why don't I just do that for $5? And then I turned into just doing it for a living.
That's super interesting, and it's already so much value that you brought here because I think you're absolutely right. We all carry it within ourselves. what we are here to do. We just have to rediscover it. And I see it with lots of people that come to me to a coaching session, that they have a hard time figuring out what it is that they are here to do, what it is that they would really want to do. And I think that's also a product of our society, yeah, that we are conditioned that we should go into this or this or this field, and we kind of forgot to listen to ourselves, what we really enjoy doing. What would be uh, something that you would like to say to these people that have a hard time figuring out what they want to do? Is there like a strategy that you would give them to follow to find their purpose?
So with what people similar to what I just said, in that somebody is, and they think, oh, hey, what should I do? I believe that's all false. We're conditioned to say that. It isn't that they don't know what to do. It's that they don't think it's realistic, whether it's because of religion, social society, their parents, some kind of person that they're putting on a pedestal, some kind of authority figure. And then they think that, well, who will want to open? Who would want to buy my art? Who would want to eat my food? Who would want to fill in the blank, whatever it is these folks want to do? That they're already doing. What I saw was I was already unhappy in my life. I was not making money and I was unhappy. That's like the crappiest life one can have. So what was better than not having money and being unhappy is not having money and being happy. So if there you are and you're not making money and not able to support yourself and you're unhappy, you literally have the shittiest life on the planet possible. There's no worse combo that somebody can have. So only somebody that's not wise would go, hey, I'm going to continuously not make money and not be happy. We already know what makes us happy. We're doing it already. We do it. Hopefully, we get to do it often, but often we don't. But we still know what it is because we do it anyway. In our free time, we do it. We do it even when we don't have free time. In those spaces, it's where you have to not listen, or where I didn't listen to people. I went, I'm going to open up a restaurant. And almost everybody close to me said, opening a restaurant is stupid. 80% of them go out of business in X amount of time, and so forth and so forth. So I just went like this. And I said, I'm not going to listen to these people because these people weren't successful. I'm not going to listen to these people because these people didn't have an inspiring life. And so I'm just going to go do it anyway because I'm unhappy and I'm not making money. So I'm just going to go be happy and not make money. And I was happy and not making money for 2.5 years after that. But the thing is because I chose something, and when you choose something that you would do anyway, you're not going to go, well, I'm not making money, so I'm going to quit. Like, do you stop hanging out with your dog or your cat or your kids or your friends because you're not making money with them? Absolutely not. In fact, you continuously hang out with your dog and your cat and your friends and or other things that you do that you don't make money from. So it's proof that you don't only do things when money is involved. You just don't like to do things you don't like to do when money's not involved. So I didn't quit Ike's for 2.5 years, even though it didn't make any money, because I was going to do it anyway. And it was something that was within me and inspired me. This is why you can't go find a need and fulfill it. Why that's bad advice. It's better than doing literally nothing. But if you find a need and fulfill it and then money doesn't come in, you quit that need because you're not making money. Every single person that has ever come to me and said, I don't know what I want to do, I'm like, bull crap. And within 5 minutes, they're listing 25 things or 50 things that they're already doing in their life that they love to do. And I'm like, great. Now, how can you make money from doing these things? How can you create this into a career? How can you go hanging out with your dog and instead of hanging out with your dog, make 1 penny from hanging out with your dog? How can you make $1 from playing video games? How can you make $5 from eating a meal? And it's just stuff like that. It's that kind of thinking. But everybody, probably since we were 3 or 4 or 5, for sure by the time we're 6, know what it is that we want to do.
Absolutely. And I think the big hurdle is that often we know what we want to do, what makes us happy, but we do not have the trust in ourselves that we have the abilities or the capabilities to actually create a business out of it, right? So people say like, oh, okay, as you said, how can I make money by eating a meal, by hanging out with my dog? How does it work? How can I do it? They lack the trust, or they don't see themselves as this person uh, making money from these kind of things, and that's ultimately what makes them fail, because their subconscious mind then starts to sabotage them in every step they take, right? So
Yeah.
you not only got to figure out what makes you happy, what you want to do, but you also have to develop the trust in yourself. You have to see yourself as this person being successful, eating a meal, hanging out with your dog, or feeding people in your case.
Well, yeah, likely most people that do those things, whether it's hanging out with loved ones, cooking at home, working on their art, they likely already envision themselves doing it because they do it in those instances. Now, this is where what I'm going to say people flip out and they get upset when I say it is, if you don't do something, then that means you don't want to do it. So if you're like, hey, I want to be an artist, but you literally never create art, you create art once a month, don't tell me you're an artist. You don't want to be an artist because you would actually create art. There's so many folks out there that do things for no money. They don't have time. One of my really good friends been broke his whole life, but every time I call him, he's in a different city. So when he tells me he wants to travel, I believe him. And he's literally one of the people that I know with the least amount of money. So you don't need money to travel. You don't need money to be an artist. You don't need money to be an entrepreneur. You can start from the literal bottom. Like I started with almost literally $0 and then made it to where it is here I am now, not because I'm better than anybody, not smarter than you. I'm probably one of the least intelligent business people I've ever met in my life. But good thing it doesn't have to do with being good at business. It's because the thing that I picked to do, I will never quit, even when I lose $1 million lawsuit, even when I get shut down by the city and by the state. I'm not going to stop doing it. So even though I lost millions of dollars in the beginning, I didn't stop doing it because I wanted to do it. And I'm not better than anybody. So that's the thing. So go out there and do the things you're already going to do and then figure out a way to like I know a way that I could make $1 hanging out with my cat. Like for sure I can make $1 hanging out with my cat. I make money hanging out in this hot tub right now. I've made thousands of dollars hanging out in this hot tub. So I'd be like, well, how do you hang out in a hot tub and make money? Just generate things, generate value. I'm not smarter than anybody. I'm just doing things that I would normally do anyway. And then I find a way to make money off of it. Like I'm also streaming right now and I'm going to make, I don't know, probably like $20 or something. So normally I would make $0 hanging out in a pool, but today I'm going to make 20. Right. And that's probably $20 more than most people make in a hot tub. But because I do that on purpose, I'm not smarter than anybody. I just turn on my camera when I'm in the hot tub. And over 18 years now, I make 20 bucks. But the thing is, I was going to hang out in the hot tub anyway. So why not make 20 bucks?
Yeah, so I think what you have is you have the action plan, you know, the knowledge and how to manifest things, how to bring a thought, an idea into this world that we see, into the physical reality, right? You have the idea, the thought, you have the emotion that you connect with it. You love to do it, and that's your energy that keeps you going. And the most important ingredient, you bring massive action to the table, right? When you have the idea and you like what you do things. You actually start uh, producing outcome, right? And this is also creating this feedback loop that creates the confidence in your abilities, because you see the results of your actions, right?
Absolutely. So I like to call it the Newtonian quantum ultimate unlimited loop, a snowball. So, but uphill instead. So there I am, and I started a sandwich shop. And I'm like, zero sales. And I'm like, dude, I freaking suck at making sandwiches. I didn't sell anything. In fact, I'm so upset by my first day that I get depressed because I literally sold $0, nothing, not a single thing. And then I recover from that, like mentally. And I go, okay, well, what do I want to do now? Oh, well, I want to open up a restaurant. Great. So even though I failed tremendously, I went and I opened up the second day. And then I started selling sandwiches and I started selling more sandwiches and I started selling more sandwiches. And I went from I'm a crappy restaurateur, my food is not good, to man, I make the best sandwiches in the world. But it was slow and steady loop. Did action. I got feedback. So the first day I did action, I got feedback that nobody gives a fuck about my business. I have to do something different. And then I went and I did something different. And then I got feedback. Hey, 9 people came in. And then I did something else and then feedback and feedback and feedback. Over time, slowly but surely, 5 months in, 6 months in, I'm like, dude, I make really good sandwiches. So I went from I don't know what I'm doing to I make really good sandwiches to I make the best sandwiches to holy crap, this is going to be $100 million company. That was all in a 1 year period. I wasn't anywhere close to $100 million company, but my mind went, and that's when I went from I'm crappy at business to this is worth $100 million from action. And then internally changes my thoughts. So now I have different internal conversations with myself, and then I do more action, and then I have better internal conversations with myself, and then I do more action, and now my internal conversation goes, I'm the greatest in the world in the history at doing what I'm doing, and then so now that's the thought, and then results show up. Now, so sometimes it's action and results show up, and sometimes it's thoughts and then results show up, which then leads to more action. So it's a loop all the way up.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think the important thing to note here is that you always get more of the same what you focus on, right? If you focus on the thought that you creating this $100 million business, and you keep thinking about that, and you keep like painting the picture in your mind how that will look like, how your identity will change going into this process, how you enjoy feeding the people, seeing their faces when they bite into your sandwiches, right? These are all the things that you can do in your mind before it actually happens in the physical reality. And if you focus on this, you will start to do the right actions. You will have the insights, the intuition that will tell you what is the next step that I need to do. And sometimes, you don't take the right step. You go like one step right or one step left to the path, and then you can autocorrect because you find out that this is not where my image wants to take me.
Yeah, I have
So
multiple.
how,
Go for
sorry,
it.
how would you say that this psychocybernetics work, that you can autocorrect your image, that you can always modify the actions that you take in order to stay on the path that ultimately lead you to your vision?
Well, so I have multiple instances in my life where I declared something, where I made something a vision without evidence that it was coming true, and then continuously did the actions and the thoughts, and then the actions and the thoughts, and then it ended up becoming true. Back in 2007, which is the year I opened, I wrote on our website, which back then was a MySpace page because I didn't know crap about websites. 2007, not I don't think everybody had a website, but I certainly didn't. Not only that, I didn't even know how to make a website happen. And so there I went and I wrote on my MySpace page, it had a picture of the restaurant, and underneath where you get to put a cool quote or a caption, I wrote transcending the sandwich genre since 2007. Now, the funny part or the crazy part or the ironic part is I didn't even know what the hell transcending meant when I wrote that. I just wrote that, came to me, transcending the sandwich genre since 2007. And then I proceeded to go and sell nothing. And it took me 3 whole days to sell 10 sandwiches, double digit sandwiches. But then what happened, put that out in the world, and then I continuously honed my craft. I honed making sandwiches. In the beginning, it was for nobody, literally. Then it was for 9 people. Then it was for 20 people. Then it was for 50 people. then it was for 100 people, then 1,000 people, and so forth, so on and so on, right? So there I am. And then all of a sudden, I started getting accolades. I started getting awards. I started getting these things. And people are like, Ike, you really changed the sandwich game. Now, by then, we didn't have the MySpace page up. But I remember I was like, no, I said I was transcending the sandwich genre since 2007. And lo and behold, I ended up doing that thing. So there I am, creating and adjusting. I made a statement and then created and adjusted. I didn't sell anything, and then I continuously created and adjusted. It's like with most things in your life that you actually care about that are important to you. You go out and you do it. If you like the result, you go, great, I got the result. If you don't like the result, you do something different. You try something new, or you do more of what you've been doing until the result happens. And that was just by throwing out that vision. I've have other instances where I made just as ridiculous, if not more ridiculous statements, as in transcending the sandwich genre, and then it ended up becoming true.
That's very interesting. Yeah, I experienced that also countless times in my life that I made a statement or I wrote something down that would happen in, I don't know, 5 years, 2 years. And finally, it always came true. Like the things that I cared about always came true. And I think this is super interesting because if you have this vision in your mind or if you make a statement and you speak things into existence, then your subconscious always will take you there, right? If you trust yourself, if you have the conviction in yourself to go there. Was there ever an event in your life or in your business career where you were exceeding your self-image? And what I mean by that is that you scaled faster or that you did something faster that than you actually saw yourself? Or was it always the case that you had the vision first in your mind and then you brought it to life?
Well, I didn't know any of these techniques or any of this. I don't want to call it new age. I knew zero personal development and self development when I started. So anything that I did was by accident or natural. Me looking at my past jobs, and I had 5 jobs that were not my business currently. I just noticed a pattern. There I was, and I didn't like them. So it was just noticing patterns. And I just used feelings. Oh, well, I feel good. And so I'm going to continuously do that. Now, a lot of times we do things like that already. We feel good, but then there are things that aren't useful to us. Maybe they don't help us get our goals. Like I love to eat. So even though it feels good, I probably eat way more than I need to eat. But if we use that same feeling towards the things that we want to be doing, then it'll be easier for us to stay on the. Anybody can go out and think that they want to do things. But if we don't start verifying it with real life actions and real life results, we need to see it before we believe it ends up going away. The genius part about life is we can always find proof of what we want to be true to be true. You can say transcend. I can say I'm transcending the sandwich genre since 2007, and if I wanted to, that day I could have found proof, probably, and the next day I could have found proof. The thing is, we're looking for the opposite to be true. We go like, "Hey, I'm attractive," and then we look at all the people that reject us. Or we go, "Hey, I'm really good at business," but then the voice in our head says, "Oh no, but look at your bank account. You suck with money," whatever it is. But instead, you can do the opposite. You can find evidence of anything that you want to be true about your own life or about the world to be true. You can find it. Heck, you can find anything you want to be true about somebody else to be true if you're looking for it. That's why they have the observer's bias in, like, even science is imperfect because they have this thing called observer bias. If you're like, hey, I want to find out that coffee is good for me, guess what? You're going to find out coffee is good for you. But if somebody else is like, hey, we want to find out coffee is bad for you, guess what? You're going to find out that coffee is always bad for you, right? That it's literally called the observer's theory. So if we know that this is going to be true, then why the hell wouldn't you just look for what you want to be true instead of what you don't want to be true? Even if you hate the government, even if you hate your spouse, even if you hate your life, why would you think about any of those things? Just find what you want to be true to being true instead of what you don't want to be true being true. Because you'll be right either way.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the ultimate life hacks, that first you figure out what you want to be true, what you want to see, and then you just focus on this. It's also true when you stand in the mirror in the morning and you like I often get this with female clients that they see something in the mirror and they say, "Oh, but look at this. I'm not that pretty. Look, I have like a tiny wrinkle here." Go and stand in front of the mirror and focus on the things that you like enjoy looking at the parts that you love, and you will soon find out that more and more things show up that you love about yourself. And when you love yourself, you trust in yourself, right? That you will always make the right decisions, the right actions, and this is what will take you forward and closer to wherever you want to go.
Exactly. Doing that, you can literally do it in the mirror. Look at yourself in the mirror and just notice the conversation you have with yourself. Even if you eat a bag of hot Cheetos, you can still look in the mirror at yourself and see what the words that you have about yourself are. That's going to give you a hint where your self love or lack of is. So if there you are and you're standing in front of the mirror and you start listing all these negative things, like you said, your client was saying about herself, well, guess what? She's not going to be wrong about that. And if you looked in the mirror and you look in your eyes or you find something that you do like, literally look in the mirror and pick out your favorite thing about yourself. Well, I really love my eyes or my smile, my teeth, my ears, my style. Like, say, if you're wearing a nice outfit. And over time, that's going to turn into a better rapport with yourself. When I'm in that great rapport with myself, it feels like I can get almost anything done that I want, physically, emotionally, career wise, financially, and so forth.
And would you say that that this concept that we can use our mind to create things and to focus on things and create more of the same, that it is based on some kind of higher power, or that there's something more than what we can feel, what we can touch, what we can see? What I want to ask with that is, do you believe in some kind of higher power?
My belief is the language of God, the language of universe, the language of everything that's created, whatever it is that's created anything, the energetic structure, the force, the grand organized design is the emotions that we have as we're moving towards what it is that we want. I think that it's really weird that something that inspires me does not inspire every single other person on the planet. We're human. We're 99, whatever the DNA that we're so similar. But some people hate cooking. Some people love cooking. Some people hate moving. Some people love moving. Whatever those things are, I believe that that is our extension from God, from the universe through, which is why as we do those things, we get rewarded.
That's a very beautiful concept. It's very similar to how I see the universe, how I see the world. And I think that we are ultimately the tools of God, of the universe, to create everything that we see, right? To create the experience of life for ourselves and also for everybody else. And so God or the universe literally experiences itself through us, through what we see, through what we create in the world, right?
There's no way other that it can. If everything happens everywhere all at once, how can one experience it other than to be separate?
Absolutely. And I think, I don't know how it is for you, but for me, this knowledge or this belief gives me some kind of ultimate trust that whatever happens, I will be protected, right? I will be fine. I will be taken care of, even if it is the trust in my own abilities. But also I trust that God or the universe will always give me the insight that this will be the next step that I need to take, or this is how I will get out of a tricky situation. And this ultimate trust is also something that protects me from having to be afraid.
The law of least resistance is something that comes to mind every single time I have an issue in my life. Like water will always find the most efficient path. Same thing with the universe. We will never know what our actions or inactions that we do will lead to what outcomes. So there's no way, even when something happens to us that we don't like in the moment, there's no way for us to even know if it's good or if it's bad. One thing that I really enjoy about it was one of Steve Jobs' quotes is he said that as we move through life, it doesn't make sense. But every time we look back upon our path, we can see how the dots will connect. Look at something that's happened in your life that's already happened, something that you thought was a terrible experience. Look from now till that time, and we can see how the dots connect. So, if anything, if we already know the dots are going to connect, my worst day of business in my life, I had to close my restaurant, close my first business, which was a supermarket in San Francisco. I closed it on 4/11/2004, so 21 years ago. And I remember feeling like a loser and that I sucked and I didn't. And what am I going to do now? I lost my business. I don't have my home anymore. I don't have a car anymore. I don't have any money. And now I'm like, just gave up and I closed. Like I had to, the power got turned off. And so no power, no money, can't sell anything because who wants to buy a warm soda? Milk's going to spoil. And, but looking back upon that, that was one of the most fortunate days of my whole life. Had that business been successful, I'd probably still be there. And in fact, I own that business with a family member who's a piece of crap. And so half of the business would have been his. I'd have been working. Maybe I would have become a better business person. I would have scaled that business. But that business is not a $1 billion business. So I had to close that and had to live off of $3 a day in food, $100 a month, basically, and not know where I was going to live. I lived there in the back of the store without any power till I got kicked out. But now when I look upon it, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so glad that I closed that business because I had the idea to create what became Ike's. Well, I was in this marriage partnership, business partnership. We were married basically, not literally, but business partner wise. And so 50% of Ike's would have been his. Not only would 50% of Ike's would have been his ego was so great, it wouldn't have been called Ike's. I would have basically would have opened Ike's, but it would have been named after him, and he would own 50% of it. And I was in the process of putting that business together. So thankfully, the universe is like, nope, that person's gone. So instead of having to give away 50% of my inspiration and 50% of everything that ended up becoming Ike's, I also get to be Ike from Ike's instead of I would have been just working a worker for this other person who's really successful. So I'm like, oh my God, I wish I went out of business sooner. I'm like, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad that that business went out of business, even though I had to sell my house, even though I had to sell my car, even though I had no food security or know where I was going to live for over 9 months. I'm still so glad that that happened. And if I went back in time and I had the opportunity to stop myself, like give myself a secret or something, I would have told my ass to close 3 months earlier, probably, and just save a little bit more money so I don't have to starve. That's all the only advice I'd give myself. Nah, dude, close the business right now, man. Let's get the hell out of here and start this Ike's thing.
Absolutely. I love this concept that we will always end up in the right place for us. And even if the situation seems very dire or desperate, you can always find the positive side of it, the positive aspect. And if you actively look for this positive aspect in the situation, then most of the time you can save yourself a lot of worry, because you don't need to worry so much about the situation. You just need to take the steps forward uh, where you need to go.
And
Just
so if now, if you know that when you go back and look at something that happened to you in the past, that 99 out of 100 times you're like, wow, I'm really glad that that happened and I would choose that experience again, then in the moment right now when stuff happens that you don't like, just imagine you're 5 years from now and going, oh, actually, I would choose this perfectly. I'm having a terrible experience right now in one aspect of my life, well, in two aspects of my life, and and it really sucks. And instead of worrying about it, I go, well, in 5 years from now, I'm going to be like, thank you so much for this happening. So instead of waiting for 5 years for me to feel good about it, let me just feel good about it right now, even though it doesn't feel good.
absolutely. Then right here, I have a very philosophical question, right? If everything always turns out for our best, how would you say does that connect with free will? Do you think that these stations, these events in our life that we go through, that they are predestined, or do we have free will to choose?
I, if it's either free will or not, I'm always on the side of free will. However, and I'm going to do a big however, what inspires me I didn't choose. Truly believe that. What inspires you, you didn't choose. What inspires anybody that's listening to this, you didn't choose. You don't know why you like cats over dogs, or why you like to run marathons, or why you like to cook, or why you like to clean, or why you are a workaholic, or whatever. You don't know why that inspires you. And say if you're like, okay, well, we learned it, great. Well, you weren't the one who taught yourself either. So in that aspect, the things that drive us, that move us, literally, I believe we have zero choice over that. It's either taught to us, and we weren't the teacher, so we didn't get to choose. We just made a decision, or it was breathed into us like the anima from life, air from the universe, from God. And at the same time, you can choose not to follow it anytime you want. You can choose to follow it anytime you want. As I'm following my path of making sandwiches, I'm the one that decided to make crazy sandwich names, or do celebrity collabs, or not make a sandwich basic like they do at most sandwich places. So I got to choose that, but I didn't choose that. Hospitality inspires me. So a little bit of both. We have the map, but we don't have to take the map. That's our choice.
That's a very interesting way to see it, and I was curious how you see free will, because I kind of think the same, that there is this inner workings, the software of the universe, if you want, so that makes the universe work. Because as you say, if everybody of us would be inspired by the same things, then we would all do the same things, right? And nothing would be as it is, because
Yeah.
we would all be there cooking sandwiches, nobody would eat them because we only like cooking them. Um, but yeah, this is a very cool way to see it. Um, so what is the next step in your journey? Where do you want to go? What's the next level that you want to reach?
So here we are, and I routinely go back and I look at my goals, my last 6 months, the last 365, the last 2 years, the last 5 years. And I look at what are the things that I've wanted and what are the things that I have. I look at what are the things that I wanted and what are the things that I have evidence of becoming true. I also look at the things that I have and that I could be looking for evidence of them coming true, but instead I look for evidence of them not becoming true. And I use all that as indicators as to, am I on a path that's my path? Or is it, I like to call it, a fake ass goal, like somebody else's goal? I wanted to be successful because I wanted to look good in front of my parents. I wanted to look good in front of everybody that said I wasn't going to be successful. And so when I lived my life in that, and that was like 15 years ago, when I was living my life there, my life wasn't really cool because then I'd become successful and I'd be like, oh, well, it wasn't enough because it wasn't my goal. And so for me, what I want now or what I do is I look at what it is that I want or that I say that I want. Do I have evidence of it coming true? And why am I not looking for evidence of it coming true if I'm not looking? Using all three of those matrices, then I decide if it's a goal worth pursuing or if it's I'm trying to impress somebody. If it's something that I want to pursue actually, then I write it out. I put it in a statement. I look if I'm doing it. I go and I look for evidence of it becoming true, including am I doing it or not? And every other goal I throw away. And I've written many goals that I end up throwing away because it's not my goal. Well, clearly it's not my goal to do one, two, or three. And I get rid of those goals. So for me, it's I'm routinely looking at the goals. And then there's all these different parts of our lives. We've got our relationships, we've got our career, we've got our financial, we've got a relationship with ourselves, we've got a relationship with the universe and others. We have our physical journey. There's so many different ways to impact the world. And some of us, it's really important in some areas. Some people think family is everything. Some people don't even care about family. Some people think it's all about business. Some people don't care about business. I just want to make sure that my goals is in alignment with who I am. I don't want to be picking a goal just because, which is why I continuously sell sandwiches, sell food. It's not the sexy thing would be for me to go and because I'm in Silicon Valley to go out and then go and get an attack. I know every single famous, and I guess not every single, that'd be an overstatement, but we've served like all the famous people that you know, Zuckerberg, Musk, Jack Dorsey, Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, Larry Ellis, all these guys. I could keep going with more tech people. I could just go and go like, hey, let me go be, and I study computer science and engineering. Jeremy Stoppelman, thank you. Jeremy Stoppelman, more and more, like all these folks that you're like, holy crap, yeah. But that's what the world wants is tech. That's what I'm not saying the world wants it, but that's what's being rewarded right now. And it'd probably already be a billionaire if I was in that realm, but that's not how I want to achieve my success. So I stay in the food business because that's where my passion is. So I'm going to do it my way, even though, but that's a real goal for me. If my goal was, hey, to make you guys think I'm the coolest guy on the planet or the most rich or the richest man on the planet, then I would just use some connections and get into tech and move my way up there, even if it be slowly but surely. And so that's I actually quit computer science and engineering, quit tech in the 90s. Probably the dumbest time to quit it. Like I would have been at the forefront of all those folks, Larry Page, Jensen Wong, um, all these guys. So which we ended up feeding. I ended up meeting them through food later.
Yeah, I think that's a very important step to verify your goals, if they are foreign goals, if you only do them to impress somebody else, or if it's actually your true self, your true purpose. And when I'm talking with my coaches, I always suggest to them to sit down and figure out their core values, like what would they fight for, what drives them, and then uh, compare their goals and see how they fit in with their core values, right? Because for me, for example, freedom is one of my top core values, and I do this as well with my investments, right? So I couple of years ago I thought about going into real estate investment, and then I calculated around, and everything looked like it's a very good investment, but I had this feeling inside of me that it's not the right thing. And when I compared it with my core values, with freedom, that I don't want to be attached to a certain place, then it all made sense that this is not the right investment for me. And I think that you can apply this to all of the other things, all of your other goals as well. If you compare them to what you are ready to fight for, what drives you, and if it fits, then it's yours. And if it doesn't fit, then it's most likely something that was suggested to you by somebody else, society.
Well, yeah. So a lot of us have these fake assholes. A lot of us do. And it's instilled values from other people, injected values from other people, which is why when we first started, I said, well, sometimes it's society or religion or our parents or another authority figure, and we're placing their opinions on a higher pedestal than ours on ourselves. That's when we get into problems, not because we don't want to make our religion happy or society happy or our parents happy, but because we don't want to do it and we do it anyway, and then we grow resentful. I know when I was doing what I was supposed to do, I got resentful at the world. I got resentful at my parents. I got resentful at society, religion, everybody that would come up to me and tell me what to do. When you switch that, and the thing is, you have to switch it when you have no power. You have to switch it when you're broke. You have to switch it when you are at a position where you think, man, I can't switch it. So the thing is this, is that was it Warren Buffett? It might have been Tony Robbins. It might have been Tony Robbins quoting Warren Buffett, but he said something simple like, may have been Charlie Munger. He said, if you don't save money when you're poor, you're not going to save money when you're broke, when you're rich. You're not going to all of a sudden win. This is why lottery winners go broke, which is why professional athletes go broke. It's not that you do not save money, it's that you're not saving money now. The same thing. If you don't do what you love to do now, when you're broke, when it's low upside and high downside, then you're not going to all of a sudden have $1 million in the bank and then start doing what you're going to want to do. Because then you can be like, shit, I can't quit my job because it pays me $400,000 a year. So I quit. And those people, that's even worse. If you're unhappy and you're making money, that's even worse because you're not going to quit because you have the money showing up. So the thing is, you have to do it now. You have to do it now. You have to do it now. I did it. I had no money and I'm not better than anybody. I just found a glitch in the matrix. I found something. I was like, I'm gonna go open here. Like somebody was like, "Hey, Ike, why don't you go open up in Chico?" Um, or and I was like, "Oh, I don't really like it." And they're like, "No, but it's a big college town. Go do it." And I was like, "No, I don't really like it. I don't think that there's money there. I think the kids just want to drink all the time. I think the kids are a bunch of haters there. I think if I go there, it's gonna actually not gonna be a fun experience, and we're not gonna make money." No, Ike, you have to. So I did it, and then basically was there for 10 years, and I made like 100,000 over 10 years, which is like 10K a year, right? Not a great use of a hundred of time, right? So, but that's because I listened to other people instead of, hey, what do I want to do? And what I wanted to do is what I am currently doing.
Absolutely. If you had the chance to go back in time and talk to your 20-year-old self, what would you tell him?
What would I tell myself? Well, I would probably look him in his eyes and tell him something like, dude, you're such a badass motherfucker. But back when I was 20, I was actually pretty damn cool. So I wasn't really in a bad space in life. The things I would say is start today. There's a bunch of ideas that I had when I was younger that I didn't start because of religion, society, parents, and authority figures. Because people said it's not realistic because people said, hey, don't do one, two, three, four, five. You need to go to college. You need to go and get a degree, become an engineer, a doctor, a lawyer, or what? Yeah, I mean, what are the other only approved jobs, right? Even now, we're seeing that kids are being told they got to go to college, and that totally blew up in everybody's face. So the thing is, I would just tell myself, make your move before you're ready. Like start now, start today. But actually, even though that's useful for everybody, what I would tell myself is you don't need anything else. There's nobody, no clients I've ever had, including myself. Nobody's ever come to me and said, hey, I really need help with one, two, three, four, five. You don't need anything. All you need to do is follow the things that you're already doing and make sure you detach all the other people's hooks into you as far as what you're doing. And in that space, you don't need anything. And I know this because I created Ike's and I'm the previous version of me knew nothing about business, really didn't know anything about restaurants, Googled everything, did everything, quote, wrong, so wrong that I got shut down by the government 4 times, not once, not twice, 3 times, 4 times. In fact, out of my first 5 restaurants, only one of them still exists. Remember when I said earlier there's an 80% chance that your restaurants go out of business? I literally am one of the most successful restaurateurs of all time. In my first 5 restaurants, 80% failure rate. 80%. So even one of the greatest of all time was unsuccessful. So you don't really need to learn anything. You just need to go out there and get the reps. So those 2 things. You don't need anything. Anybody listening right now, just do it, like Nike would say, and then just do it now instead of waiting a year or 2 years or 3 years. If I'd started 3 years before, I'd probably already be a billionaire by now.
It's absolutely solid advice. Is there anything else that you want to say to our audience, that you want to let our audience know?
Well, for everyone listening, your well-being is your greatest contribution to humanity. And there's no exceptions ever to that. So make sure that while you're out there living life, for you to focus on what brings you well being, because through that, you can only give well being to other people instead of being resentful or doing other things or feeling like other people owe you.
Ike, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure talking to you. If anybody out there wants to find you, where can they do that? Where can they eat your delicious sandwiches, or where can they see your incredible stories?
So, one, if you want to eat at Ike's, just go to loveandsandwiches.com. Sandwiches.com. You can see all my restaurants. For those of you that are in the United States, I've got 130 restaurants. Hopefully, one is near you. I'm right here at the one in Kona, Hawaii. It's right over there. And then, but if you want to follow me and follow my adventures on social media, every single one, it's at Ike Shahada, which I'm sure you'll have how to spell my name. I'm at Ike Shahada on every single social media, everything, every single thing. So just go on that and you can follow my journey. It's about food, it's about philosophy, and it's about fun. And I probably talk a lot of smack too.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ike, and it was a pleasure having you.
I appreciate you, Christopher. Thank you so much. Really great to see you like this. Thank you.
Thank you.